Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of our EAFC 25 RTG career mode here with Stoke City. We are back today after kicking off season 4 of The Save in the previous episode. Today we're going to kick off the episode by seeing that Andrew Moran is rejoining the club on loan. I wasn't planning on making this signing because that will make it the 4th time he's been loaned into the club, but with Bay's injury I feel like we needed that additional cover in those attacking areas. We've got loads to get through today, including the final sort of week and a half of the summer transfer window. We've got our EFL Cup second round tie where unfortunately we've been drawn away at Arsenal, so a really tricky tie. And then more big games in the Premier League as we head through to September and October. So loads to crack on with, but I think we're just going to dive into that first game as we take on the Gunners away at the Emirates. Still planning on making a few more signings to bolster out the squad as we are looking a bit short in certain areas. But before we do look to make any signings, let's see if we can make it through to the third round of the League Cup. Come on the Potters. Well, you probably will have seen from my lineup, I've gone for quite a strong team all things considered, as Martinelli opens the scoring inside the opening 5 minutes. Saka gives it to Mihaly. And now Dahoud, one of the new signings, spreads it out to Juranovic. Nice football. There's Millian and Adam, the big man. Nice hold up. Danjuma across the box. It's parried by Courtois and Millian follows in and it's well blocked. Good response from Stoke. Corner for Stoke. Millian to swing it in. Looking forward to Dahoud at that near post. Adam's going to win that knockdown and picks out Mihaly on the edge. We've got hold of it and Thibaut Courtois had to tip it over the top. Valverde able to accelerate forward and looks for Martinelli. Done pretty well in response to that early goal from Martinelli, but let's not make it too. Bilal with the save, but it doesn't matter, and despite a good response, Gabriel Martinelli, the Brazilian, gets his second on the night, and that might be enough to end our progression in just the second round. Well, unfortunately, guys, that is going to do it. We huffed and puffed in that second 45, but couldn't create anything noteworthy. We had a few half chances, but nothing to really test Courtois to get us back into the game, and Arsenal just saw it out in the second period. As I say, it's the luck of the draw. Really unfortunate to get drawn against last year's Champions League winners away from home at the Emirates, but what can you do? Our lowest priority this year and we're out in just the second round. Well, guys, as we get back to the menus, 2 huge offers coming in. The first one for Linton Minor I am going to turn down because even though it could bring in some funds for the amount we would get, I don't really have a replacement lined up, so I don't see the point in selling. As for this one from Issa Kabore, I turned down a bit earlier on in the window from Stade Rennais because again, I didn't think it was a realistic destination. But Manchester United coming in for him. Yes, he's a former Manchester City man, but at 26 years of age, in his prime, I said there might be interest for him in the season finale because he had such a fantastic first full year in the Premier League. I'm not surprised one of the traditional top 6 has come calling. Well, Ruben Amorim really wanted his man and was happy to pay 37.5 million for his services. So Kabore looks as if he could be heading to Manchester United. So he will miss our next trip as we head to London to take on Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham side. Of course, that sale will bring in a lot of money, but with just a week or so remaining until transfer deadline day, it is going to be a crazy end to the summer window. We've got to focus our attention to the match on the field as we take on Tottenham. Tricky game away from home where we narrowly lost last season. Let's see if we can potentially pull off a big scalp. Come on the Potters. Yeah, of course, no Kabore for this game with that transfer impending. So Galbraith has got the task of keeping last year's top scorer quiet as Millian goes on. And Maddison just looking to pull the strings. Nice ball through the gap and the flag stays down for Darwin Núñez. And it's a great strike from the Uruguayan. And we're really struggling in these early stages of the campaign. Now Galbraith dispossessed and he's really struggling out there, the Northern Irishman. Son into Darwin Núñez, trouble here. Núñez from the angle And Bilal does really well and smuggles it behind for the corner. Corner swung in. Galbraith takes it off the head or out of the gloves of Bilal, and it nearly ended up in the second goal as Danilo's not got there. Joshua Kimmich puts it wide. Nunez on the spin. Flamingo's got to get there and doesn't. Bilal comes out, and that is fantastic from Darwin Nunez. And Bilal's so good on those closeouts, but Nunez had the awareness just to lift it over the onrushing keeper. It's brilliant centre-forward play from the Uruguayan, and I cannot keep him quiet today. And Danjuma to Diamande. Oh, trouble here. Rafinha, such a potent front three that Spurs have got. Rafinha going all the way. It's brilliant. And that is game. Maddison, a lot of space for the Englishman through the gap. And Maddison again. Out to Son. And Son looking to take on Galbraith. Beats him. Nunez for 4. And this is just getting embarrassing now. Well, there's the full-time whistle. Referee puts us out of our misery. And that is one of the worst performances we've seen since our return to the top flight. Spurs just a complete level above us today. And the man taking the match ball, Darwin Nunez, absolutely tore me to shreds. But that is just not good enough from Stoke. We've got to be better than that. Well, and after a pretty tricky defeat, we get back to the menus and see that Issa Kabore has officially gone to Manchester United. Does raise our budget up to just shy of £41 million. But to be honest, I'm not really sure where to invest it. We've got all that money to spend. I'm not going to spend it all on a replacement for Kabore because I'd rather spread it around the squad and bring in 2 or maybe 3 names to bolster out the team. But we definitely need a replacement for Issa. Well, as we head into the final 10 hours of the window, I think I'm going to start off with my signing at fullback. And I've got a few interesting names on the shortlist. I've never used this lad Guela Doué, but I quite like the look of him. But I think the 2 real contenders at the moment are Josh Achiampong, the former Chelsea defender who's moved on to Germany and doing really well at VfB Stuttgart. And also another Englishman, Max Aarons, sort of a forgotten name around England. But when this lad burst onto the scene at Norwich City, he was the future right back for England. Of course, his career and the career of other English fullbacks haven't quite gone to plan, but I think for Bournemouth looking to get him out the door, he was out on loan last year at FC Nantes. If we can get him for under that market valuation for a team like Stoke who are working on not a shoestring budget but quite a tight budget, that is a brilliant value for money deal. So in his prime at 27, I'm going to see if we can bring Max Aarons to the Britannia. So Max Aarons is in and becomes our first signing of deadline day, and I don't think he will be our last. I think it's really clever business selling Kabore for the big fee and then bringing in a replacement on a much lower transfer fee. Similar sort of player, quick, got good stamina up and down that side, and he's a good defender as well as being pretty decent going forward. So I'm really happy with that signing. I think it's a really good replacement for Kabore. Well, we've already picked up one English fullback. Why not pick up another? Miles Lewis-Skelly joining the club on loan. He's moved to Atalanta in the save, but they're happy to let him come back to England on a 1-year loan. We don't really have a backup for Jordan Boz, and Jordan Thompson was kind of filling in, but I thought, why not bring someone in who can naturally play left back? Lewis-Skelly's a similar player to Thompson, obviously left-footed and can play in midfield and naturally drifts into that space. But bring him in on a 1-year loan. I think it's a really clever signing to provide backup for Jordan Boz. Really happy with that. Well, guys, I said it might be a busy transfer deadline day. We've got 8 hours left on the clock, and with 2 signings already, I've got one more that I would really like to make. I'm hoping that we're going to have enough money to bring him in. He was actually one of my biggest targets in the summer window, but the sort of small transfer budget put this signing on hold as I had other positions that I wanted to prioritise on. But I said I wanted to move Bay centrally, and that is still the long-term plan. So I wanted to bring someone in on that left-hand side, and the man that I was really interested in, Borja Sainz of Norwich City, still playing in the Championship. And I think as an inside forward cutting in on that left-hand side. He's a similar player to Bay, but he has a real goal threat as well. He's quick, he's agile, he's got great balance, and in front of goal, he is fantastic as well. I think at the time of recording, he's still the highest scorer in the Championship at the moment. Started the season on absolute flames and has tailed off a little bit, but at 26 years of age, still got room to grow. I would love to bring the Spaniard to the Premier League, as I definitely think he's good enough to make the step up. The question is, do we have enough money remaining in the budget to bring him to the club? Well, guys, as you will be seeing, we just about had enough money to get that Borja Sainz signing over the line, just about, with about $1 million left in the budget. But we shouldn't need any money with no youth scouting. We're not going to need any money between now and January. So I think that will do it for our deadline day. 3 signings in what turned out to be a really busy end to the window. And the sale of Issa Kabore ended up being a bit of a silver lining for us, because although we lost our starting fullback, we were able to bring in some real star quality. But anyway, I think we will just jump into our next game. Another really tough game. And we'll be looking for our new signings to make an instant impact as we take on Newcastle United at home at the Britannia. They currently sit in second place after what has been a fantastic start to the season. But for us, with just 1 win in our opening 4 games in all competitions, I'm looking to at least stop the rot here with a point, but would love to claim all 3. Come on, the Potters. After shipping 4 against Tottenham, we're on a pretty poor run of form and need to sort our form out pretty quickly as Diamande finds Million down the right. Gutierrez, the new man for Newcastle, comes across to deal with him. He prods it inside to the Iceman, and there is Borja Sainz on his debut, and he rattles the woodwork as he looks for the opening goal. That's promising stuff, though, from the Spaniard. Corner for Newcastle. Gordon goes short to Broholm. Back to the Englishman Gordon, and Broholm again. Linking up with the former Everton man. Nicely worked, and the strike comes in. And what a strike it is as well. Sandro Tonali with an absolute rocket. Well, that is a really frustrating 45 minutes of football. We played really well and went the closest through the new man, Borja Sainz. And Tonali's goal means that Newcastle go into the break leading, and I feel like we're getting very unlucky at the moment with the goals that we're conceding. I feel like I'm not defending too badly, and I'm getting my defenders in the right positions, and we're just conceding really unlucky goals as Sainz fires over the top. Low XG chances that are still finding their way into our back of the net, and just a little bit of misfortune in these early stages of the season. That's a good ball forward. Gordon, trouble here. Anthony Gordon racing through. Lovely feet. Isaac, ice a pen. And that is probably going to do it. Bassi goes into the book as he's trying to block the shot. There's such frustrating penalties to give away. They're both on the slide. For me, that's harsh. Isaac scores into the top corner. And that will probably do it. A good performance from Stoke. But performances don't get you points at this level. And points are what get you up the table. And at the moment, we're going down the table. Just 1 win in our opening 4 in the Premier League, out of the EFL Cup as well. And in a season that we were meant to be building on last year's performances, we look as if we're taking a step backwards. Well, just got to keep the games rolling and hope that we can get out of this slump. Just 1 win in our opening 4 in the Premier League. But for our opponents, shocking start to the campaign for Maresca's side. No wins on the board, 4 defeats from 4. And just 4 goals scored. Currently, Chelsea sit rock bottom of the Premier League table as 2 of the out-of-form sides to kick off the campaign face each other at Stamford Bridge. Of course, it's still early stages and both clubs have time to kickstart their campaign. But for us, we definitely need to focus on putting the ball in the back of the net with just 1 goal scored ourselves in our opening 4 games. That is not good enough for a team that has aspirations of qualifying for Europe. Come on, the Potters. Chelsea, 4 defeats from their opening 4. It's been a terrible start. As Santos rolls that through, Bassi with some great defending. Had to be careful after giving away that penalty in the previous game. But yeah, for us, just haven't really got going yet. Haven't really gelled. And I thought after the win that we got against Southampton, we might sort of pick our form up. But it's just not happened. And we've really struggled for that consistency. Madueke rolls it down the line to Joao Felix. And now Dusan Vlahovic through the gap for Noni Madueke. Big save by Bilal. Andre Santos given time and space to drive on. Madueke through the gap for Joao Felix. Madueke carries on his run. Noni Madueke. Bilal is there again for the second time in the half to make a big save on the closeout. We head into the break deadlocked at 0-0, but Chelsea looking more likely at the moment. Santos into Baena. Joao Felix on the move ahead of him. Joao Felix gets there, and Bilal, for the third time, has to save me on the closeout. Madueke on the break. Chelsea pushing for that opening goal. Danilo looking to get back. There is Joao Felix. Joao Felix through the gap. Lovely football. Madueke this time is not going to allow Bilal the chance. And Chelsea take the lead. And Stoke's torrid run continuing here in West London. Oh, Santos skips away from Diamonde. Trouble here. Santos reverses it. Alex Baena in. It's 2. And we are really going through it at the moment. It's going to be just one win in our opening 6 in all competitions. And just 1 goal scored in our opening 5 in the Premier League. Stoke City are really struggling, and we're maybe getting a taste of second season syndrome here. Well, staying in the capital for our next game as we travel to Selhurst Park. They also sitting in the relegation zone in 19th place. No wins on the board for them, just 1 point at the moment. This is the perfect game for us to get out of this tricky run of form. I'm not panicking just yet. I'm not hitting the panic stations because I know this is just form up to its old tricks. As soon as we get that first win on the board and we start getting them flowing, I know that this team is good enough to start climbing the table. Needs to start here though. Come on the Potters. Yeah, I mean on paper this has to be the game where we turn things around, but we know how good of a team Palace have gotten. When we faced them in the Championship in Season 2, they tore us apart on both occasions. Oh, that is a naughty tackle on Borja Sainz. I hope he's going to be alright as the Frenchman flies in. I think it'll just be a yellow, but we will have a free kick in a very dangerous position here. Borja Sainz is going to step up and have it as well. Sainz looking to go up and over the wall. Borja Sainz! Oh, it's off the woodwork and out. And when you're down there, you just don't get any sort of luck. Could have crept in off the rebound, but instead bounces back out. It's a good win by Mahali back in the team today. Now Sainz again. And Oscarson from the angle. Oscarson over the top. Promising start from the Potters. So unlucky not to be in the lead. Boz does well with that coming over his shoulder, but heads it straight to Eddie Nketiah through the gap, and it's onside, and that is a huge stop from Bilal. Well, the only thing I can really say about that is I'm not sure why Ebereeze didn't shoot earlier. Seemed like he had the angle to just slip it under Bilal, and he decided to go on, and he allowed the keeper to make the stop. It was still a fantastic closeout, as we've seen sort of become a trademark of his game. Oh, that's a lovely ball. Oscarson, Million, back to the Iceman. He's desperate for a goal. Oscarson! There it is. Stoke City in front. And it's the Iceman. First goal of the season, and boy did he need that. Kata, brilliant work from Mihaly. And he's got Sainz with him. And Sainz lifts it for Million, and it's 2. What a brilliant Stoke City goal. And right before the break, the Potters double their lead. Corner, Palace trying to get back into the game. Eze swings it in. Richards goes up. It's nodded down, and oh, how has that stayed out? Off the post, onto Bilal. I'm not sure he knew much about it, but he survives as Palace trying to find a way back into this. How on earth did that stay out? Well, I said earlier on, when you're down there, you don't get that slice of luck, and maybe the same applies to Crystal Palace there. I'm not sure how that ball stayed out as Sainz lifts it for Oscarson. And we know Lacroix is quick, but so is the Iceman. Oscarson for 3, it's game. That will do it. A brilliant Stoke City counter. And the Iceman doubles up for this afternoon. Stoke City have 3. And this is exactly the result that we needed to kickstart our campaign. Well, I'm hoping that win is going to get us back on track. And although it's early doors, we've got some ground to make up if we do want to contend for those European places this season. Need to make sure we turn that victory into a string of wins. And I'm hoping against our old rivals, Leeds United, we'll be able to make it back-to-back victories as we return back home to the Britannia. Come on, the Potters. Sainz for Stoke finds Oscarson. There's Jordan Boz out wide on the left and Linton tucked infield. Now Borja Sainz. Well, that might come for Oscarson. Oh, it's a big slice of luck, but we will take that all day long. And the Iceman with his 3rd goal in 2 games. And I said when you're down at the bottom, it feels like your luck is out. But right there, it's Leeds United who will be feeling that way. For Stoke City, a huge bit of fortune, but nothing fortunate about the finish as he smashes it in off the post to give us the lead here at the Britannia. Kata. Oh, it's really nice football, and Linton could be away. Stretch those legs, Linton. Go on, my son. You've got the pace. And pegs it back for Oscarson for 2. And this is much more like it from the Iceman. 4 goals in his last 2 games. And I thought there might be big interest in the summer. If he keeps scoring like this in the top flight, there certainly will be next summer. Oh, what a ball that is. Ademola Lookman in behind. Leeds back in the game. 15 to play. And that just shows how fragile we can be. Lookman off the bench. Gets his side back into things. Last few minutes. Come on, lads. Nothing silly now. Keep that ball away from our goal. Gruev forward to Lookman. Come on. As Flamingo heads away. That should do it. There is the whistle. As Stoke City hold on to claim back-to-back victories for the first time in the Premier League this season. That's a big result to hold on to that as well. Could so easily have bottled that from 2 goals up after Lookman got Leeds back into it. But Oscarson finally finding some form. 4 goals in his last 2 appearances in the top flight, and reminding us why he is such a highly sought after striker in the Premier League. But guys, I think that will do it for today's video. It's been quite a hectic one with the end of the transfer window. 3 new signings coming in, and I think we're starting to see them settle and really make a difference on this team, particularly Max Aarons down the right and Borja Sainz in behind, filling a gap whilst the skipper is down. We'll be back in the next episode to really crack on with the kind of early stages of the campaign now that we're through the transfer window, and I'm hoping we can build on these back-to-back victories and start making a push for the top end of the table. I'll catch you for the next episode very soon, guys. Take care and peace.